Castellon. I know.
How do you know Rob? Go ahead.
I don't know how I know Rob, but I know that
I do.
Okay.
Come on. You can do it. You can get us there.
Go for it. Go for it.
He's from Maine.
Okay.
He's a judge.
Oh my. Okay.
You got
he
it
was
yet?
the last undefeated player. Yeah. And he top-8 Dragons Maze.
There you go. I need that. You need a little push to the finish line.
Well, I did really terribly at Dragons Maze, so I was, you know.
Well, no one made
I
you.
never was near him.
No one made you sleeve up Maze's End, man. You did that on your own.
Sometimes fate makes you sleeve up Maze's End.
Is that your story?
It demands that you sleeve up Maze's End.
So yes, Rob Castellon is the judge from Maine who made the Pro Tour at, the top 8 at Pro Tour Dragons Maze. A great tale.
Yeah, he's their
really
team
good.
captain. He'll be playing against Ari Lax. The third player on the team is Dustin Beckemeyer.
So we'll see how. You're familiar, of course, with Lee Lax and Lowry. We'll see how Castellon and Beckemeyer do, as both of these teams are sitting at 2-0 right now. So they are undefeated thus far, but they've got a long weekend in front of them.
Danger about Rob's deck. Okay, I'm going to tell you something.
How many great merchants?
I'll tell you the mana base.
Okay.
1 Temple of Deceit, that's blue-black.
Yep.
1 Temple of Silence, that's white-black.
Oh, God.
15 Swamps.
Hold on. Don't tell me. I'm not looking at the deck list for those of you guys at home. And I'm going to go with 5 Grey Merchants.
Just one. Just one.
Really?
Just one. However, so what's he doing with all the black mana? I know, just one. You're like, wait, what?
I was not expecting that.
Here's what the plan is. 3 Lash of the Whips, 4 Read the Bones.
Oh, those bones were made for reading.
So we're going to draw extra cards, and then we're going to play kill spells. We have 3 Lash of the Whips. He's playing 2 Disciple of Phoenixes. That's the 4-drop that blackmails their hand. So it gets a card out of their hand. And he has a nice pair of Keepsake Gorgon, and then his upgraded version, Hythonia the Cruel, which is Keepsake Gorgon on their whole team.
Yes. Now I kind of like what I see here.
Right. So
for Castellon's deck.
Right, as a note, Castellon defeated Melissa DeToro last round to make it to 2-0. So there has been battle tested today.
Melissa DeToro, of course, another Pro Tour top 8 competitor, making her top 8 at Pro Tour Dragons Maze. Excuse me. No,
one earlier.
Gatecrash. My apologies. Rob is Dragons Maze. Melissa is Gatecrash. Either way, they both have Pro Tours, but Rob clearly too good with his mono black deck. Right. You see, Ari has a swamp of his own. Take a look at Ari's deck.
We might see Grey Merchant deck lose today.
He's got 9 forests, 8 swamps, and Ari has
none. He's not playing it. Oh my! He's not playing his Grey Merchant. What could be happening?
I demand an explanation. His Grey Merchant, he only has 1, and it's in his sideboard. Wait a minute. Is there another black deck on this team? There's not. As you see, Read the Bones here from Rob. So they only had 1 Grey Merchant out of their 12 packs, and Ari's not even playing it. Bold. Fortune favors the bold.
Yeah, it looks like there's a Lash of the Whip. I cannot tell whether he scried that to the top or the bottom, but that was one of the 2 cards he looked at. He has the Returned Phalanx here. Remember, he does play 1 Temple of Deceit, so it is possible, as the 1 of in his deck, that he could make that attack if he needs to.
Ari just with a 4th land and passing the turn back. Yeah, so he's doing a lot of nothing.
That's a pretty bold keep. So Ari on the play kept a hand with no business in turns 1 through 4 in the form of creatures. If I'm Rob, the read I get here would be that Ari has some sort of kill spell in hand.
Yeah, for sure. And there is a
Cavern Lampad.
Yeah, that's going to take care of that right away. And now there's the Asp, the 4/5 with reach.
Now it looks like the Cavern Lampad was just played as a creature there.
Yeah, Lampad was a creature, and then it died to a Freakish Cure.
Yeah, so Nessie Nasp, and we've talked before about how Nessie Nasp at common, maybe the best monstrous creature at common. I think, that's pretty, it's very strong. It's the reason why it's very good is that it's actually just as a 4/5 reach for 5, a great creature already, and its monstrous cost is pretty attainable.
Yeah, I think its monstrous cost is completely reasonable, and it's good to start with. Its base stats, reach is certainly important, and then it just gets better over the course of the game. I think it's everything that you want in a common, and it comes in the red zone right now too.
The only thing you don't want it's going to get
Lash of the Whip, sure.
And Ari can't faster do it right.
So both players play Lash of the Whip. Nessie Asp is going to stay alive. Convenient that Nessie Asp is a 4/5 instead of a 4/4.
Yeah, that was a pretty aggressive play from Rob to do that. So because Ari did nothing before turn 5, you have to assume that Ari's going to keep a hand with some sort of action in it. I would put Ari on having a kill spell. Granted, Lash of the Whip is 5 mana, but I think that play is probably aggressive.
Well, Castellon's going to play a Gorgon.
It's Hythonia the Cruel, that's his mythic. So Hythonia, 4/6 Death Touch, and for 8 mana, she goes crazy.
Yeah, this card's awesome. Wow, Rob is going to snap block here. Looks like. I mean,
It's a
4/5 and a 4/6 Death
Dangerous
Touch.
trade. Ari's threatening the Monstrous, which would deal, you know, a full 8 damage.
I think you're happy making this trade. I mean, it's... I don't know if that's... It looks like he's considering blocking.
It worries Lash of the Whip.
Okay, yeah.
Or just a trade.
Yeah, or just a trade. So this kind of like, it speaks to me that Rob probably has like a reanimation spell for his Hythonia, like somewhere within his deck.
I do not believe he's playing any reanimation spells. I think we are actually just at the point where that card, you know, it's 8 damage. He needs to deal with it. He can't Monstrous Hythonia next turn. If he has no answer in his hand to an 8/9, then he's saying he'd take 16 damage before killing it with Hythonia. That's almost his... He's already played 1 Read the Bones. He has another one in his hand. That would be, you put him to 0.
Okay.
You know, maybe he just had... I think it's a trade he has to make. Which kind of speaks a lot about Nessie and Asp. Really.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it definitely does. You see another Read the Bones get cast, and then Rob's got his follow-up. He's going to pass the turn back. He's going to play Disciple of Phoenix. All right, so...
And we're going to see Nemesis of Mortals in play. It's one of the more interesting cards. It's a 5/5 for 6. For 6, I'll put that in quotes. Monstrous is for 9. In Monstrous is for 9 mana, I believe. It turns into a 10/10. Now, each of those costs is reduced by 1 for each creature in your graveyard.
Now this is a scary card.
Well, it wins the game.
Yeah,
really well.
It does. And I see now why Rob wanted to block.
Right. I mean, in a matchup that's looking to be this grindy, Colossus of Akaros is terrifying.
Yes, and you see Ari is just going to play a land and then play himself, so I can find it here, a Volpone Goliath, the 6/5 Trampler. The problem here, though, is that the Colossus is almost online, and I like the thing I like about the Colossus is, like, in certain matchups it's going to be completely broken and busted and just like unbeatable, and I think that Rob is in that matchup.
Well, right. Fade into Antiquity is one of the few answers to it in the format. I don't know if Ari... Looks like Ari is playing one of the 2 that he opened.
I'm probably going to sideboard in the second one.
I would sideboard in the second
assuredly.
Yeah. I mean, Rob is 1 damage from 20 trample indestructible. It's...
All right.
Voyaging Satyr.
I don't think so. Farika's Cure is going to take care of that Voyaging Satyr in response to the Bestow. Bestow creature's still going to come into play, but you can tell that Ari knows that he's in trouble.
Yeah, Ari has a lot of power on the table, but, you know, nothing really that will deal with Colossus of Akaros.
Jeez, Lash of the Whip's going to take care of that.
I think no 10th land. It looks like he has no 10th land yet. So he just passes the turn very quickly.
Rob's deck looks really good. I mean, this is what a Team Seal deck feels like to me. You know, of the decks that we've seen so far.
Removal spell, crazy good rare.
Yeah, like it just seems like, you know, this is just a really, like, it feels more constructed to me because, I mean, that's just what Team Seal decks feel like when you have access to all those cards. And yeah, Rob's deck clearly has a game plan in place and is executing it and is doing a fantastic job of it. And it looks like, you know, given the matchup, his game plan is really good.
Yeah, it's very difficult to swing past the Colossus. Ari's deck looks like it's great at grinding. We see a Farika's Mender, which is a Gravedigger, which actually can fight. It's going to go ahead and bring back a card. His whole deck is being colded right now, pretty much, though, by this Colossus.
The Mender looks like Mender, fantastic card. Gorgon being its creature type is certainly important here.
Yep.
It's going to rebuy for Ari. It also is a 4/3, so it's a pretty aggressively costed. There's your 10th land. Here comes your monstrosity activation of Colossus.
Swing for 20. Ari's at 22, so you can take it once.
It's so big. It's so big. Get the biggest die as you can. Yeah, blocking is probably a good idea here.
Ari at 22. blocks, goes to 5. I don't think he's drawing his Fade into Antiquity, and that would be the game.
He's going to concede to the Colossus. So Rob Castellon is going to win game number 1 over Ari Lax. We'll get another match set up here for you guys, but the team of Pryor, Castellon, and Beckemeyer currently ahead, as we do see another match just finish up there between Lowry and Beckemeyer. We'll see who won that one.
Yeah, so when you talk about hard trumps, the Colossus, I mean, Fade to Antiquity is one of the few answers to it in the format. I think it's one of the hardest trumps. Granted, it's a lot of mana.
Oh, I mean, it's a ton of mana. But the one thing that I like, and the one thing that you mentioned, is that there is an answer to it.
There is one. Yeah.
Because that to me speaks volumes about like the health of the format. The fact that, yes, the Colossus came down and that thing is indestructible and very hard to beat, but their answers do exist to beat this card.
And you can annul it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right.
We'll go to Lee Pryor here. As you do see, Beckemeyer is up over Lowry 1-0. Kind of update our board state here. You see Jackie Lee. She's got some white, she's got some green, a little, maybe a splash of blue here for her deck.
Yeah, she has Afara's Warden in play right now. It's a tapper, but only for small creatures, and a Leaf Crown Elder, but it looks like she's on the wrong side of an Ill-Tempered Cyclops. It's been monstrous up to a 6/6 trample. And now looks appear to be an 8/8 trample flying, thanks to Nimbus Naiad.
A little Spectral Flight action going to come in the air, but a Divine Verdict is going to take care of that Colossus. Yes, the Nimbus will come into play as a 2/2 flyer, but if you're Jackie, you're breathing a pretty heavy sigh of relief here. It's Divine Verdict on the screen there for you guys. Looking a lot better in this format than it has in previous ones. The thing about Divine Verdict that I find interesting, Matthias, is that it is a very obvious trick when your opponent does have 4 mana open and they're not playing any spells, but I still think it's just going to be good a high percentage of the time.
Yeah. So looking at the deck list, Eric Pryor's playing a mostly, it looks like a blue-red, pretty much just good cards deck. He has a lot of chimeras and a lot of removal spells. Really similar to what we saw Alex Hayne play earlier.
See a Phalanx leader here from Lee, going to aura it up.
Yeah, chosen by Heliod will turn it, gives it +2, +0/+2, but more important, Anthem's her team. Jackie does appear, obviously he's on the heroic archetype here. Or at least it has Phalanx leader.
Yeah, I mean, the looks of her deck, it looks fairly good. It does have one chosen by Heliod, as you said. The other one is in the sideboard here. It does have Dauntless Onslaught, a card that we saw a little bit earlier. She does have 3 Divine Verdicts on her side, but only 1 in her main deck. So I find that to be really, really interesting. We take a look at Pryor's deck list over here. He has some interesting cards. Triton Fortune Hunter, he has 2 of in his sideboard. He also has 4 Wave Crash Triton in his sideboard, and he is blue mana, so that's a little bit surprising. He also has 2 cards, I would call it your favorite card for now.
Tactics
2 Triton Tactics,
that's
too.
Almost an entire core of a deck.
Yeah,
so
and
their
all
team
of
has
his
decided
sideboard
to not run their blue heroic in favor of just running a removal spell heavy deck.
See if that's going to pay off for them, because I mean they could have taken the aggressive approach, but they're obviously taking the defensive and more reactive approach.
Jackie here is going to play the other one. It's Warrior's Lesson, so that's actually another card in that Triton Tactics cycle. It's good in green heroic. It gives both your creatures the when they hit a player draw card ability until the end of the turn, but it's another double targeting spell for 1 green. So she's going to go ahead and swing, and then use Warrior's Lesson to Anthem her team again and draw 2 cards.
The thing you have to love about this card too, obviously, if everything goes right with this card's fantastic. It's great in a heroic deck as well, but the big key here, I think, is that it's an instant. Because it wouldn't surprise me if they had printed this card as a sorcery, so that, you have to play it pre-combat, and then it's very telegraphed about what's going on, but this being an instant makes this card much more powerful. I think it being an instant forces it to be an uncommon, which it is. But this looks like a really, really good card, not only just in a heroic deck, but it might just be a good card in general.
Right, so we see a total there in a swing of 10 from Jackie.
Yep. Pryor really in some trouble right now. Jackie's starting to draw cards. She's sitting pretty. Got a Phalanx leader as well that's looking to grow the team even more. Things are really difficult for Eric right now.
So she has a blue splash in her deck. It could be for Agent of Horizons. Is there anything else that it's for?
Doesn't really look like very much. I mean, she's got a gold card in Fleece Mane Lion.
Just the Agent of Horizons?
Yeah, just the Agent of Horizons. Okay. That's it. So nothing crazy.
So we see a Prescient Chimera from Eric Pryor. He still leaves 2 mana up. That could be a Voyage's End or a Lightning Strike. Remember, I like how Jackie took that opportunity to go ahead and chosen by Heliod her Phalanx leader, so not can't be Lightning Strike won't really be an answer to it anymore. We do see there are 3 Lightning Strikes in Pryor's deck and a Magma Jet, so plenty of ways to interact.
How do you feel about this Chimera, the Preston Chimera? Like, maybe best blue common?
Well, it typically would be a really great card in the set. You know, a 3/3 flyer for 5 is good. It's a 3/4 flyer with an ability.
Yeah, and flying. It does everything.
It's a great value card. It doesn't have much synergy. You're just basically paying for what it does. So, you know, it's not part of an arc. It's part of the good cards archetype.
Sure.
So I really like it in that sense, but I don't think my best decks may not have too many of them.
So Pryor's on blocking duty right now. You see the Preston Chimera is going to get in front. And you see he's trying to figure out where to put his other guy. Looks like it's going to get flattened over there. Maybe a trick here incoming from Pryor?
Yeah, as far as the tricks, blue-red is not heavy on tricks right now. You know, it could be Triton Tactics, Voyage's End, Magma Jet, Lightning Strike. I think those are the main options. Coordinated Assault, so that's the red version of the double targeting spells.
You see Lee targeting the Phalanx leader there with the Battle-Wise Valor, so +2/+2, Scribe 1, and everybody's going to get a +1/+1 counter as well. So a very, very good Battle-Wise Valor.
Yeah, and we see really with a heroic deck, where you're talking about really you just start playing anything that says target on it.
Yep.
And Jackie's deck is really just taking that to heart.
Yep.
Phalanx leader hit the table, and then things got out of control very quickly. She was able to seal up the game.
So Jackie Lee is going to win game number 1 over Eric Pryor, going to get her team back into the matches. Lax and Lowry are down a game. We'll figure out who we're going to go to in just a moment here between Lax and Castellon, or Lowry and Beckemeyer. But we do want to thank you guys for joining us here. Matthias Hunt, Cedric Phillips here in Worcester, Massachusetts. Star City Games Open Series has made its way here to the Northeast. Round 3 of 9. We got a long way to go, my friend. Yeah. We're just getting started.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
We thought we saw some trends developing as to what decks people were building, but we've seen a lot of different takes on decks.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue here. We still see this blue-red value deck, and what I like from Lowry is we're seeing the 1 blue-red card in the set. Well, there's 2 blue-red cards, apologies, but the Wave Crackling Triton, we see that in play. It's a 2/3 for 3 that sacrifices to deal 2 damage, so it has a little shock attached to it. The other card in the format is Spellheart Chimera, which is a star 3 where stars the number of instants or sorceries in your graveyard. Both those are, you know, so we've seen a lot of blue-red decks. Most of them have just been a lot of kill spells, though. And I kind of like how Lowry is becoming more aggressive with that.
You talk about Spellheart Chimera. He does have one of those in his deck as well, so we might see that show up. You see a Thassa's Emissary there from Lowry. He's going to pass the turn back, so his deck certainly looks pretty good.
Yeah, Beckmeyer's on the back, definitely on the back foot. He does here have the Alseid in play. It has been in. It looked like he's also enchanted it. Now has +2/+2. So right now he has a blocker. I believe it's actually just he has the 2/2 aura on it. I don't believe it's the Emissary. We will catch that in a second. Yeah, so yeah, we have Observant. So he has Feral Invocation.
There it is. There it is. So let's see what Beckemeyer wants to do this turn, because he did play a plane, so he does have 5 mana. I'm trying to figure out how. I mean, his back is against the wall right now. Like if Lowry has like a bounce spell or like a Voyager's End or a removal spell, you just see the Feral Invocation on the screen, +2/+2 and Flash for 3 mana. Aha.
He's gonna go for Time to Feed. This is the kill spell in green right now in the format. It's interesting. So it's Prey Upon at 3 mana. It makes 2 creatures fight. But if you win the fight, or really if the guy dies at all this turn, you gain 3
life. Yeah.
I think everyone can agree it's worse than Prey Upon.
Yep. Not as efficient.
The question is, where does it fit into the green decks? You know, how high of a priority is this card? And I think that question is really still out there.
Gaining 3 life is not, gaining 3 life right now is something that Beckemeyer actually really needed to do.
It's great for him right now.
The fact that his removal spell certainly doesn't hurt, but the fact that he does gain 3 life gets his head kind of, above water a little bit. Sitting at 12 is a lot different than sitting at 9. We'll see if Lowry does have a bounce spell or removal spell to get that creature out of the way. But again, Beckemeyer does have 2 mana up as well, so he could have another combat trick here. You just see Jackie Lee kind of pointing Lowry's hand, giving him a little bit of assistance here.
He has Nimbus Naiad. He has the option between Rage of Perforos and Nimbus Naiad here. Rage will deal 4 damage to the blocker. He's going to instead go for Nimbus Naiad. That'll turn his Emissary into a 5/5, and now let him draw a card on this attack.
And that Vaporkin's going to come in as well. One of the 4 that he has in his deck.
So he's an aggro red blue deck.
Yeah. You could certainly say
he's playing
so.
Titan Strength. He's playing a lot more aggressive style cards.
He has no interest in going long. None of those kill your guys and play a big monster like an ill-tempered Cyclops to get the game over with. He is going to be in the air early and often.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Beckemeyer appears to be doing the same thing. He's trying to curve out. He's playing a lot of low-end creatures. He's even playing 2 Traveling Philosopher, which is just a 2/2 for 2 with no abilities. And isn't there are cards like Vanquish the Foul, which destroys a creature with power 4 or greater, which he's not even running.
Mm-hmm. So let's see, Beckmeyer's sitting at 5 life. He's going to draw a card for the turn.
And he's drawn. It looks like Heliod's Evangel, or Evangel of Heliod.
You saw him cast a God's Willing at the end of last turn, just to scry 1 to try to get a little bit of help. Not the best use of God's Willing. Also, the fact that he has to reveal that to Lowry for the next game lets Lowry pick up some information. But after scrying and not finding what he's looking for, he does concede the game. So the matchup between Lowry and Beckemeyer is going to be tied up at 1-1 as we're going to move to Lax and Castellon. Again, Castellon is currently up a game with his mono black deck that looks very strong.
Yeah, that last game, Beckemeyer is a little soft to flyers. He has 1 Leaf Crown Dryad, and then he has 1 Arbor Colossus, which is a rare that's tailor-made to do with flyers. But outside of that, it looks like he might be pretty soft to Lowry's deck.
Okay.
He may have to steal a game to get that match.
So we cut into the match, and again we cut into Castellon with the Colossus.
Okay, we have a fun board state because in Ari's hand is a card called Colossus of Akros.
Mm-hmm.
Which they both have that.
So we could have a Colossus standoff here.
Well, Castellon's a land ahead right now, so he's got the advantage a little. I didn't realize that both of them. So Ari, interestingly enough, his Colossus was in the sideboard. He's boarded it in for this match.
Yeah, this could get really good.
This
could get real good.
I wonder if he now is regretting having it in the board, or whether.
I think, to me, Colossus is just like a matchup-dependent card or a deck-dependent card. I don't think Ari's deck, his Game 1 deck, I don't think needs Colossus, but I think it's perfect for, his sideboard games if he does get in a grindy matchup like this one as a trump card.
There are some matchups where it's going to be just putrid.
Yeah.
It's an 8-drop.
Imagine if you're playing against a heroic deck.
Yeah,
you just get ran down. So now we could have a Colossus standoff here. Castellon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He has 8 lands in play, so he's 2 mana away from the monstrosity activation.
We see Disciple of Erebos and more importantly, land number 9 from Rob.
Can Ari find land number 8 to even be able to cast his Colossus?
It does not look like he has Sip of Hemlock, Nemesis of Mortals, his own Colossus, Erebos' Emissary. So it looks like he's going to bestow the Emissary on Vulpine Goliath. That will move it up to a 9/8 trample. Getting closer. I love the effect that this Colossus has, that Ari has 2 Nessie Nasps and a 9/8 trample and says no attacks go.
Ugh. Hero's Downfall in response. So Emissary's going to come into place at 3/3, and now Ari has to literally just sweat. Yeah, right in the land. Right into play. Land number 10.
All right, suit it up. I think he'll give Ari 1 turn to draw. Okay, he's
going to wait.
Pass.
A little surprised by that?
I am a little surprised by that.
You have to assume that Lax has brought in his other Fate and Antiquity, so he's on a 2-outer right now to not just die. Not only that, but get him back in the game in a big way. As you see, he's just going to unload his hand here, sitting at 16 life. He's going to do some blocking.
Ari wants to create a board state where his counter swing is actually lethal.
Yeah. And he also just wants to buy as much time as he can to actually, draw into Fate and Antiquity.
If he works really hard, he can buy 1 more turn, but it's very difficult for him to actually buy time against a 20/20 trample.
Yeah.
So Castellon sees his own Colossus and the Sip of Hemlock. He's going to get to have his choice of which 2 he wants discarded.
So Disciple Phoenix is going to come into play. It's going to let him select. Did you see Rob is going to try to figure out, he's going to try to predict how Ari is going to block here. Yep, so Ari's Colossus goes down. Yep, and Ari says, I have to block because you're attacking me for 20.
So 1 block of Nessie Nasp will put Ari to 1. The question is, does he want any additional life points? He'll go to 3, it looks like, instead of 1.
Oops, how about none?
He's going to Lash of the Whip one
Yep,
of them,
Lash
and
of the
that'll
Whip.
be game.
So what's going to happen there? Lash of the Whip kills
Yeah,
the guy, lets him
2
trample over
cards
for a
down
ton.
was Fade into Antiquity.
Yeah.
The next card was another Vulpine Goliath.
You have to assume that Lax brought in the second Fade Antiquity, but just wasn't able to draw one.
Both games, it looked like if R was able to deal with the Colossus, he was home free.
Yep, I agree.
His board state was really superior outside of that card.
It feels like what Castellon's deck is doing is, kill your guys a bunch and then just beat you with Colossus, and that's all his deck can do. But if you don't have an answer to Colossus, you just lose. And while Lax did have answers and 2 Fade Antiquity up their sideboard, wasn't able to find one, ends up losing the game. So Castellon's team is up a match right now as we cut back to Lee and Pryor, and we're starting on Lee's side.
It's a little bit hard. It's maybe hard for Castellon's team to find a second win. Right now, we see Pryor has 2 Spellheart Chimeras in play, as well as the Thassa's Emissary. The Spellheart Chimeras, I think, are both 0/3s right now. It's a really high risk, high reward card. The card doesn't become very good until very late in the game.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Where I could certainly see this card being incredibly powerful. It could oftentimes be sitting at a 4/3 or a 5/3, but there's some assembly required to make that happen. And if you can make it happen, I think the card's absolutely fantastic. But you have to get to that point first. And right now, we're looking at 2 0/3s.
Right.
Got a Lightning Strike here, so now we're looking at 1/3s.
Yeah, it's gonna take down the Afara's Warden. Warden taps a creature with power 3 or less, I believe. So right now it's been tapping down the Emissary.
Feels like a God's Willing, maybe. Maybe not.
Or a Pump Spell would do it. It's a 1/2. She's gonna go with Battle-Wise Valor.
Yeah. Gonna get the Scry too, Will Lee.
Yeah, it looks like she does have the God's Willing you're talking about. I believe even a pair of them.
See if we can get a good look at Jackie's deck list here. She has 1 God's Willing in her main deck and side, and she has 1 total.
Okay, so
throughout her
it's
registered
not
deck,
2
yeah.
of them then. It's some other cards she has doubles up.
So Jackie's gonna go reach there. Pryor's in. It doesn't look like he's in great shape right now. Don't have a great look at his hand, but again, those Spellheart Chimeras, excuse me. They have the potential to be good, but when you're being beaten down against a deck like this, it seems pretty tough to do. Just see Lee's going to tap down a creature here.
They're 1/3s now, thanks to Lightning Strike, and I think as soon as another instant hits the yard, they're pretty good.
Okay.
So Jackie's been unable to mount much of an assault right now, which makes me think the Chimeras will be very good in this game. All Pryor has to do is play a control game, which is kind of what his deck wants to do anyway. And then eventually he has his win con set up for him. They're back down to 0/3s now, thanks to Mnemonic Wall.
But Mnemonic Wall is going to let him play defense and get another removal spell back, so it's going to shut it off for now.
I mean, I think Pryor's fine.
Yeah, I think this exchange, it's probably pretty good for him. So let's see what Lee's able to draw. You see how people draw their cards now? They have to get back. They have to get out of Miracle mode.
We see. And a card which is a rare, but it seems like with how much we've been seeing it,
it's in every deck.
It's in every deck. It's a Spear of Heliod drawn by Jackie.
Not only is it in every deck, it feels like, but it's just really good.
Well,
like really good.
Is already for 3 mana is already an effect that I'm more than happy to play. The fact that it has a second ability is just excellent. Jackie's a little choked on white mana. I don't know if she'll actually be able to use the second ability of it much before the end of the game. You've seen her hand; she has Wingsteed Rider, as well as a couple other things to cast.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because, with Spear Heliod and having a global +1/+1 effect to your team, you look at that in Constructed and it's kind of mediocre, but in Limited it's so much more powerful.
Yeah.
Jackie's going to go a reaching here.
Those cards maybe, the double she has may be chosen by Heliod.
And she's going to start off with Heliod's weapon. So there's the Spear. Going to enhance the team a little bit here. So we're going to see if maybe we'll see an attack here. So the Observant Alsteed's going to come in.
The Observant Alsteed and the Traveling Philosopher. Both of them are 3/3s right now. So she's offering a trade with the Emissary. Pryor almost certainly won't take it, and so he'll take 3.
It's a Traveling Philosopher. Just a 2/2 for 2. Little story to tell. Nothing more, nothing less.
Jackie has to be a little careful with how she plays right now because she doesn't want that emissary to connect, and she knows that Pryor has a searing, has a
Lightning
strike.
yeah, lightning
I know,
strike.
I want to call it searing spear, but it's not lightning strike in his hand.
Flavor, man.
Flavor matters. Gods throw lightning, they don't throw spears.
But there's a spear in... Never mind.
Right.
There's a spear in play.
But that's the
Forget
white
it.
god, not the red one.
Forget it. So here is the Rage of Porphyros. Or Porphyros, excuse me.
The Rage of Porphyros is going to take down, it looks like the Observant Alseid. Scry 1. Now, the Scry 1s, interestingly enough, there was a question about this at the pre-release. You can't let your opponent... I don't believe you can let your opponent miss the Scry 1.
Sure. Kind of interesting. See a tapper here.
Yep. The tap is going to be...
Going to fire off the Lightning Strike right now, it looks like. Yep. So going to clear that out of the way.
Yep, the guy still taps. But now, thanks to Rage and Lightning Strike, this is
deck for 4 here from the Chimeras.
Yeah, it's about 1 instant or sorcery from those guys being really scary.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They're already pretty good right now. We may see this go to 3.
It's interesting because this is the kind of game state I don't think Jackie wants to be in with her what feels like a green-white heroic deck. You know, again, the Spear is going to be pretty good if the game goes longer because then it can go into removal spell mode. But right now, Jackie's mana is so bottlenecked, she's not going to have the ability to do that right now.
Coming back is going to be really hard for her because she can only play so many things in a turn. Right, she'd want to leave the Spear back. She wants to leave Spear mana up. But that's all her cards in her hand are white, and Spear costs double whites. The cost of her leaving that up is doing nothing. And I think that's going to be what she'll do.
Yeah, that's what she's going to try to do.
Yeah, this is actually a matchup where I think Pryor's normally in a pretty good situation. And we said earlier when we saw their game 1, Pryor's running 3 Searing Spears and a Magma Jet. That seems excellent against a heroic deck to me. He also has the potential to run up to 4 Boulder Falls. He's choosing to run 0.
4?
Yeah, they open 4 Boulder Falls. That's probably too many.
It's time to bestow.
All right, so he's going to go. And what I like of this play is that it lets Eric, so he knows that there's the Spear Pelead, gets to eat one of his creatures. This lets Eric further commit to the board without actually losing a creature.
Yeah, I like that a lot about it too. Because if Lee does want to spear the creature the Nimbus has bestowed upon, that's fine. I think Eric's fine. They get to draw a card. This creature's going to die, which is also fine. And he gets a 2/2 Windrake out of the deal. So,
okay, so the card in her hand which doubles up as Divine
Verdict. Okay.
And she's going to go ahead and Divine Verdict the Emissary to deny a card draw from Pryor, but she still takes 4.
Yep. And so her life total is still being whittled away here. And again, for Lee, she does have 3 copies of Divine Verdict like within her deck. You know,
right.
But she's only starting 1.
So that next Plains still doesn't solve the bottleneck problem. She has a Divine Verdict, a Winged Steed Rider, and then that Spear activation. That's still, the mana bottleneck isn't solved.
She's getting closer though.
She's gonna play Winged Steed Rider as a 3. Remember, it's a 3/3 right now, so it can trade with a Spellheart Chimera or eat Nimbus Naiad.
It's actually ahead of Spellheart right now because Spellhearts are 2/3s.
Right.
So it's currently ahead. Now, if Pryor has a spell, it's going to make it so that they can trade. But if Pryor has a spell anyway, I think Jackie's in trouble.
Because of Jackie's low life total, this Spear has effectively lost its second ability.
Yeah.
Sure, it's nice to kill a creature that's already dealt damage to, but if it's killed you and it dealt damage, that's not very relevant.
Oh, a little horsey.
All right, a Crow and Horse probably will be a gift he'll give. And that's actually really strong because he's going to be able to, just through suicide attacks, get Jackie to a really low life total. Giving him lots of 1/1s is not good.
Yeah.
That gives him a method with which he can push through those last points of damage.
You see Pryor saying, "No, you take it. The horse belongs to you. It is a gift from me to you.
Here, have this horse.
I did not give a receipt. You have to keep it."
Soldiers sneak out of the horse.
This might be like from a flavor
horse.
standpoint. I think this is my favorite card in the set by such a wide margin. I loved it. I remember the first time I read this card, I just died laughing that this was made and printed and the flavor and everything about it.
Trojan horse.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. The opponent game can. Yeah, no, this is This is yours.
No, no,
yeah,
you get it.
You have to take the horse. You can't not take it, Jackie. I see you missed it. There's no trigger on that, right?
We're gonna get a resolution here. It looks like he may have missed the opportunity to trigger it. It is a trigger. It is a trigger. You can miss it.
Now that is really interesting. I'll be interested to see what the ruling on this is.
I mean, you have to phrase it right. When it comes into play, you have to say, all right, now it's yours. You can't just like...
I feel like there was, I don't know, I felt like from the body language there were multiple attempts to give the horse away.
Yeah, we don't... I mean, if he tried to give it away on end step, that wouldn't work. You know, we don't really know what happened in the situation.
That's true. That's true.
We will get updated on this in a second.
When I play the horse, I just give it to my opponent. I don't even play it on
I
my
would just
side.
play it and put it in front of you and be like, hey, I'm casting a horse for you.
This 0-4 is yours. I'm such a nice person. You see Castellon there in the middle, helping his teammates out, trying to help out Dustin Beckemeyer win game number 3 against Anthony Lowry. Ari Lax trying to help out Anthony. You see the horsey. Looks like the trigger was missed.
Yeah, which means that Jackie's going to be getting 2 2s each turn from the horse, thanks to Spear of Heliod.
This just got really awkward.
She's got a chance now. But still a fair way to go. What's awkward about it is when Pryor was planning to donate the horse and then just sit back and get 1/1, so he didn't actually attack that turn. So he gave Jackie another turn's worth of mana to work with now.
So Jackie says, I'll take people.
And so it's going to turn out that Pryor gave himself a Trojan horse. Not the preferred method of... Probably not the preferred owner.
As far as things I didn't think I'd see today, that's one of them.
He's going to pass back. Looks like she's drawn Warrior's Lesson.
Not the best draw at this point. Certainly got some work to do.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, we'll catch up on what that is. That may just be the reach. That may just be that's Leaf Crown Dryad.
Okay.
So that'll be fine here. It's just another creature. It's a creature with reach, actually, so it's pretty decent. It's a 3/3 reach. It blocks everything that Pryor's doing. She gets to decide whether she wants to play it as a reach or put it on Wingsteed Rider. I think you just play it as a reach.
I think you just play it as a reach creature too, because now you're just starting to go up the board. It becomes a 3/3 instead of just being a 2/2. And now you just want to put a critical mass on the board so that the Spear can just have as big an effect as possible. She's going to play pretty conservative and keep up her Divine Virgin in her hand, and also a Spear of Heliod activation, and actually just let the Trojan horse just give all the tokens.
A Crowan horse.
Oh, no! Oh, really? Really? Wow! All right. I see what you're gonna do. I'm not even gonna talk about. I'm just gonna call it a horsey now.
Right. Lightning Strike. This is the 3rd instant played, taking a Wingsteed Rider. Now the Chimeras are bigger, but wait.
We knew about this. God's
willing.
Yep.
He should survive such an attack.
Indeed. So a +1/+1 counter is gonna go onto the Wingsteed Rider. God's willing is gonna resolve. Gonna give it protection from red. And how about a little Scry 1 action as well?
I have to like the sleeves here, by the way.
I was wondering if you were going to point this out. I was not going to. I was going to wait for you to.
Okay, they are Bruce Lee sleeves?
I believe that is Bruce Lee, yes.
No relation.
Are you sure?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think you were.
No, I'm not sure. I assumed.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Another
Could be.
Another Wingsteed Rider is the draw for Jackie.
Now, those Chimera are going to be 3/3s now. There are 3 instants in the graveyard, 3 instant/sorceries, but 2 Lightning Strikes and a Rage of Purphoros.
Right.
So let's see what Jackie's doing, because now Jackie, I'd say she's close to the point of stabilization. And now she's just trying to build a board and then start turning things sideways. She's not there yet. She's still got some work to do, but I think she has stabilized at a healthy 8 life.
She's going to go ahead and bestow, it looks like, with this Dryad.
Okay.
Yeah, that will put him up to a 7. So now he'll take down 2 creatures on an attack. Getting close to taking down 3.
I know obvious statement is obvious, but I'm a pretty big fan of Wingsuit Rider. This card looks really good.
Right.
Like a really, really good top of the line white common.
I still don't know how, I'm still worried about that attack because Pryor's just going to take it and then race back.
Yeah.
I would rather still have. That's the difference with steel creatures. Even, I kind of just want another blocker, I think.
Sure. I would too. Again, I just want to create a critical mass here of creatures so that my Spirit Philiad just is +1/+1 across so many things, so it's having a huge impact on the game.
It's possible she doesn't want to go late. She wants to press the tempo of the game. If she feels like she can get outdrawn here,
sure.
Then that's a play. Then, a race. Like, the reason you wouldn't want to race here is that you're going to lose the race to a removal spell. But it's possible if you believe he just has too many draws, too many better draws late game, that that's something you just have to be okay with.
The Pryor's draws right now aren't very good, as he just drew a land and passed the turn back here. So Lee draws a Plains.
Her last card is Divine Verdict.
Yep. So everything that's important here is on the table.
Pryor at 10 right now. I think he took 7 last turn.
Yeah, I think his life total should be a little bit lower for Pryor. We'll get that confirmed for you guys in just a moment. And everything's coming into the red zone now. Yikes.
All right, so she's counting through. Let's see if he blocks the largest creatures. He has 5 blockers. He's gonna go ahead and do this. He's only gonna take 3 if he blocks everything.
I think this is kind of interesting actually, because I think what Jackie's trying to do is just try to clear some things out of the way.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Pryor, there's no way he can block his Crow and Horse to get it killed.
Yeah.
It's a 0/4. Jackie's largest ground attacker is a 3/3.
You mean Trojan Horse?
The same one.
Okay. So where's that Nimbus Annihilate going to block? You see Pryor really, really working through his blocks and what he wants to do here.
He's going to go and block the large one with Nimbus Naya. But he's going to have the opportunity to swing back for a lot of damage here.
Yeah, I mean, he will, but I think Jackie's life total is high enough that it's not going to matter very much. Again, she also does have the Divine Verdict that we do know about, so a creature that is attacking is covered.
Yeah, she's just trying to push damage here. As you can say, this is a difficult trade for her. Pryor loses the Nimbus Naya. Jackie loses 2 of the tokens. You'd say Jackie loses more here.
So Divine Verdict, offensively, take care of
Yeah, it was going to hit a
Chimera.
Spellkite Chimera anyway, so why not do it now?
And if you guys take a look at the bottom update here, my friend, Dustin Beckemeyer did defeat Anthony Lowry, which means that the team of Pryor, Castellon, and Beckemeyer have won this match.
Right, they're going to finish out this game, but to no avail.
And that's difficult if you're Jackie Lee, because it looks like she's got this game well in hand. You see the hand going to be extended, so Lee would end up winning the game and the match, but unfortunately for her teammates in Ari Lax and Anthony Lowry could not get it done. So Rob Castellon and